Listen up, get ready, I'm not gonna take no more. There's a revolution, a revelation going on in my soul. Buckle up, get ready, we're not gonna sit back.
Welcome back, everybody, to Live from the Heartland for the week of August 26th. And as soon as the Hawaii wildfires started happening and we learned about them, I started thinking about the few people I know on the island. I got a relative out there. I got a couple of friends. One of my best friends ever in the world is a guy named Michael McGraw. Sometimes he goes by Michael Piranha. Came out of Kelly High School, had a band called Killin' Floor, played at the Rising Up Angry benefits. He's a wonderful guy and a great human being, and I'm glad that he's joining us to fill us in on what's going on. Michael, good morning to you. It's real early for you, a little bit later for me. I think there's a 5-hour difference. And what was that song that we heard coming in?
That was a Tilted Halo, and good morning to you. Aloha kakahiaka, we say here, good morning. That was Tilted Halo, and that was my contribution to thoughts about climate change. It is on here. Here's my feckless plug. It's from Diamond Head Road.
Diamond Head Road. I got that. I got it in a CD version.
All right. It's track number 4, and it's got a bunch of cool musicians playing on it. And it's, it's Mother Nature's got it wearing a tilted halo these days.
What's that hat you're wearing, Mike?
It says no ka'oi, which is Hawaiian for is the best or none finer. And that is Maui's slogan. Maui no ka'oi is our Maui County slogan. I am not on that island, of course. I am home in Honolulu, which is the state capital of Hawaii, and I am on Oahu, which is the middle of the 8-island chain. I'm in the middle of it. Maui is closer to you, or that's further east, and West Maui is where the devastation occurred.
Well, what you have built this little segment as is another island's point of view. Why don't you fill us in on the disaster that's happened over there on Maui, how you first heard about it, and how people are responding?
I think we heard it was a typical play, as you know, what's going on at the moment, news feed, right? So what we heard was there's brush fires on Maui, but we hear about brush fires on Maui every day in the summer. But then this one's really close to Lahaina, and then minutes later, there's some buildings in Lahaina on fire. Lahaina, of course, was our first capital when we were a territory, and it's been preserved, well, up until recently. And it looks like Nagasaki now, but it was preserved as a historic wooden structured town for 150 years, and it was so beautiful. It's a wonderful place. Great small businesses. McFleet would own the club there. There was a Hard Rock there. There was a Moose McGillicuddy's there a while back. There was historic nightclubs and shops there, and they're completely gone, as if it was bombed. None of us have ever seen anything like it, and all of us are just like everybody all over the world. We're just, how could this happen? And it did. There was no water hydrants. It's controlled by the HECO. The electric company controls the release of the water for the fire hydrants. And the power went out on the whole west side of Maui when the fire started. So there was no control over releasing water in the hydrants. There was no water in the fire hydrants.
Michael McGraw, how are people on the other islands, how are they responding to this? I imagine they're jumping in and helping out big time.
Yeah, the Hawaiian word for help is kokua, and the kokua has been gigantic. Not only have the billionaires, the American billionaires who bought up a lot of the real estate on this island contributing, and they all are, but everybody is pulling every dollar out that they can. There's been a lot of money raised, and it's tragic. We're still looking for 1,000 people that we can't account for. So they're asking everybody to take DNA tests. They have missing people. So if they find anything in the remains, but the temperature, the Fahrenheit at the burn site was so high that there's a lot of evidence that's can't be recovered. So we don't know who's gone and where they went, but we're just guessing they burned up. It's rough.
I would imagine that's what happens.
Yeah.
There is a lot of talk in the news that we're getting about the fear that speculators will come in, and you mentioned billionaires having homes on the island who are helping the rest of the people on the island. But there is this fear about how it gets redeveloped and after it's cleaned up. It seems like it's a long way off. You got any sense of that?
I think we're looking at a 10-year project to even get Lahaina back to looking like it was someplace. It's not going to. I mean, it was leveled, as you've all seen. That's the footage. I've seen the same footage everybody else has because I have not gone over there. They're asking nobody to visit there, so the local folk, Kanaka, can get themselves, grieve their lost ones, find their belongings, and start to put it all together. Maui lives off tourism, so there's the rest of the island. But I mean, they're just asking a respite, no incoming. Who'd want to visit unless you like looking at absolute desolation?
Is Maui the Big Island, what they call the Big Island?
No, the Big Island is the island of Hawaii, which is to the east of Maui. They're the first coming from the United States mainland. The first island is Hawaii, the Big Island, and that's home to Kona and Hilo and to the active volcanoes. Maui is basically the next island over and surrounded by Lanai, Molokai, and Kaho'olawe, which are small islands surrounding Maui. So Maui is the second most populous island, and then the Big Island is third.
So the deaths and the destruction, I mean, I know the fires were burning a lot of places, but the population, except for the 1,000 people plus who are known to be or assumed to be dead, pretty much what's happened on the rest of that island?
Just a whole lot of projects to get food and relief. There's still upcountry fires, and so they need the Kula is upcountry. It's beautiful. Maui's gorgeous. It's just dry, and Kula is still burning, but Kula is a lot of rural land, and so is Lahaina. I mean, Lahaina is a town surrounded by what was dry brush, and that's what happened. It swept. I mean, the wind was 50 miles an hour. Supposedly, a HECO, a Hawaiian Electric Company power line went down in the wind to start the fire. So that's, on the mainland, people like finger pointing a lot. We don't do it so much here, really.
Good.
They're blaming the electric company for not cutting the power during the high winds. But who does that? I mean, this is an absolute unicorn of an event. And as horrific as it is, nobody would ever conceive that this would happen. People are saying, why did they have water cannons in the water so they could blow salt water on the fire? Come on. This is a first-time incident. I can guarantee you Hawaii will bounce back stronger, but we had to go through this. The infrastructure here is a little bit third world. I've always, when I want to make fun of where I've lived for the last 30 years, I just say it's a third world country with a Costco, because there's stuff. We have the most beautiful weather on the planet, and we don't have bike lanes in Honolulu. There's a lot of backwards stuff here, and then there's a lot of forward thinking. There's good social philosophy here, and there's some bad infrastructure, and we have to address it.
Michael, you're one hell of a musician, and I know that you've made your living for however old you are, almost playing music. You play regularly out there. I would imagine that a lot of musicians who are not in Maui would want to be supportive, and there were probably a lot of musicians in Maui, if they're still alive, who are really out of work. What's the situation in your field?
We're like Hamlets, right? Because we're all these islands are separated by between 50 and 200 miles of water. So our friends, a lot of Honolulu, we're the 12th largest city in the country. We're the gathering place. We're 1.2 million people in population. We're bigger than Portland. We're bigger than Pittsburgh. It's a big town, and a lot of our musicians go there regularly to play. especially the ones who play traditional slack key and Hawaiian music. So that's going to affect their outer island work. And the outer island musicians who mostly work at resorts, most resorts are, there's no resorts in Lahaina town. There's nothing in Lahaina town now, but the resorts are up country and further to the west and further to the east. So Ka'anapali and places like that, and Kapalua, they're still going to employ musicians, but Lahaina's done. It's shut down. Give it a decade.
What's the population like on that island? I mean, is it, we hear a lot about people, Native Hawaiians, concerned about losing their stuff. I mean, is it a lot of newer people, a lot of white people moved in? What's it like there?
It's a scourge. There's white people everywhere. We can't get rid of them. Oh, wait, I'm Irish. 166,000 is what the census says from 2020. So that's the population of Maui. And I guarantee you, 100,000 of them are there to serve the millions who come to visit, just like over here. I mean, we're basically a vacation service for most people that work really hard every day and want to come somewhere that's really kind and nice and warm. So, yeah, this is like I said, it's a unicorn of an event. We don't know how this plays out, except hopefully we'll do the right things with the funding we get and the donations, and the state will do the right thing. We're being dragged kicking and screaming into modern civilization over here sometimes, you know.
You know, on the news, which is just the news has been filled with scenes from this destructive fire, but I've read reports. I might have sent you one that I think it was. I think I sent you something, but it talked about how much the federal government has jumped in all kind of ways, and it really sounds very impressive. What's getting some play in the news are some people who are criticizing the federal government for not doing enough. Any theme to that? Anything that's coming up in your life?
I think everybody over here, I mean, well, you know, if you look up Blue State in the encyclopedia, there's a picture of Hawaii, right? So everybody's happy Joe's president at this point in time because we don't want paper towels tossed at us.
Right on.
So, and I think Biden's reaction has been terrific. We really like our new governor is more of a proactive governor. Dr. Green is more of a proactive governor than Governor Ige ever was, and I think, you know, he's doing the very best he can to get things done as quickly as he can without. We're not an alarmist state, and like I said, in the blame game, which is so huge these days, we don't know how to play it over here. We're just grateful for help. And all the finger pointing here are tiny little fingers pointing at stuff that nobody had any control over. This was an act of nature that was completely aberrant. You know, it wasn't, it was a disaster waiting to happen. I don't know. The whole planet's heating up.
Well, that's the truth. We've got, you know, the whole planet is burning up. I mean, there are 19 people, I think, in Turkey just died in a fire, probably migrants. It's going on every time. You know, you talking about the spirit of Hawaii and that people will come back. My hope, I think, would be that Hawaii then would become an example to other places, because it's not going to be the last place that has devastation due to humankind's activity.
Yeah, I think, you know, a lot of the philosophy here is just to keep exuding aloha. I mean, that's what we do, understanding and love, and it really works here. You know, which reminds me, having known you for only over 50 years,
long time, buddy.
You'd be a wonderful Hawaiian, James. You let stuff flow through you. You got the memory of a goldfish. You don't house resentment. That's what we do over here. And you'd be a leader over here as you are there.
Well, you know that I'm planning to come, and I'm going to come this winter. I grew up with my dad telling stories of when he worked through his father, who worked for Libby. He was on a plantation, a pineapple plantation, where he told me he could see Molokai with the leper colony down below. And he always talked about Hawaii, and his younger brother, my last living relative from that of the brothers, my dad's brothers. David, lived in Hawaii, he and his family, and you've met my cousin Adam, I think.
I have.
Some reports on this. He grew up in Hawaii, went to Punahou High School. Then he played football at Northwestern. Now he's in LA. But we've been talking a lot about Hawaii on the Family Zoom. We're going to run out of time here, Mike. Do you have any parting shots you'd like to share to your friends here in Chicago and around the world?
Just aloha nui loa. Love and miss you always. And I'm always looking forward to visits from my closest friends. And you are in my closed hand. My 5 fingers are full of friends. You're one of the fingers, pal. So
well, our birthdays are a day apart. You're the 15th of January. I'm the 16th. Muhammad Ali's the 17th. There's a lot of other January birthdays, but
my wife's mother
if I'm not there on my birthday for you and I to jump in the ocean together, I'll be there soon after or just before.
I have such a chore list for you of things to do around the house.
I'm ready. I'll try to stay limber. All right, I want to thank you, and I really, our hearts go out to you and everyone else in Hawaii, particularly the people who are suffering the most over there. And I know you're doing good. You're trying to make it better, and you'll contribute in all kinds of ways. Fill us in again soon, okay, Michael?
You got it.